Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Alfano. This is the Plant-Based Business Hour. I'm happy to have you with me. Today, I have a very exciting show as we talk about shifting the global food supply system. Of course, we have to talk about agriculture. It's not just the plant-based products or even fermented proteins or cellular agriculture that we need to talk about. We need to talk about farming. Who better to talk about farming with than a nuclear engineer? He also happens to be the founder of Sweet Farm and the Sweet Farm Foundation. I want to bring on my guest today, Nate Salpeter. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are. Yeah, it depends on what part of the world you're in as to the pronunciation, but you nailed it.
I was about to say Nate Salpeter, but I didn't want to go out of bounds. So
no, you're all good.
I'm glad to have you with me today. I see that gorgeous background, which is, everybody, a real background. That's your life.
Yes. Yeah, that is Sweet Farm right behind us.
Look at
at least
that.
part of it.
Wow, so beautiful. And you've got gorgeous weather there today in Northern California. And you're right outside of San Francisco, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're about 45 minutes south of San Francisco, right along the Pacific Coastal Highway. So you might hear the ocean in the background here today.
Wow, so beautiful. So I have to get up and visit. Okay, before we talk about Sweet Farm, or maybe while we're talking about Sweet Farm, let's get into your life, which is this unique juxtaposition that you still do today of nuclear engineering. And then you have the sanctuary that is Sweet Farm, and they're in the foundation. But you also invest out of the Sweet Farm Foundation and other things. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So tell me about the dual parallel of your life.
Yeah. So, wow. It's, I guess, oftentimes when people kind of go through life, they hit forks in the road and choose one or the other. Both my wife, Anna Sweet, and I, so of course, that's where the namesake of the farm comes from. We hit these forks and we end up going in both directions, and then it forks again from those, and we go in those four directions, and then it forks again. And before we knew it, all these things start to intersect back with one another. So my background is in climate technology. I've been working in the space for about 13 years. I worked at Bill Gates' nuclear startup TerraPower for about 6 years before my wife Anna and I moved to the Bay Area to follow her job opportunity. So I still work in the nuclear space. I still worked with them after we left. But it's interesting that our journey to this point was really around, for me personally, it was an awareness and personal action that I wanted to take to leave the planet better than I arrived on it as. So in the nuclear energy space, it's around, predominantly, CO2 emissions and impacts on, waterways and all these other things, and air pollution, of course. So strong awareness around conservation and environmental best practices. Anna and I, we were in the Seattle area working. We were doing some volunteer work in dog and cat shelters, helping organizations increase their efficacy, increase their throughput through strong narrative and storytelling. So if you can tell the story of the animal, it increases adoption. Orders of magnitude, right? So, you tell the story of Bogey the dog, who they've been having a hard time, for 9 months adopting this dog out. We take the dog in, tell the story online, over 2 weeks. Bogey likes going to the beach. Bogey, really it's about personifying these animals that have so much, personality behind them. And then within a week or two, they have a line out the door, because people made this connection. Well, that's not that different than what we are trying to do in the sanctuary space, of getting people to make these connections. That said, that is just a piece of what we do at Sweet Farm. But yes, to this date, still doing tech work. My wife, Anna, she works in the video game space. She's the CEO of J.J. Abrams' video game company, Bad Robot Games. So she runs circles around me. So we really started this project around, let's drive impact in a way that is complementary of amazing organizations that are already out there doing awesome work. We wanted to really fill the white space and address these issues in a way that is super important. And of course, the food system is a system. Our whole organization is built around addressing, driving systematic change by creating a system here on the farm, which interacts with one another, and we can actually use that as a showcase and as a platform, and as an incubator for amazing technologies as well.
So you mentioned sanctuary, and I think everyone has a very solid understanding of what that is. You have many animals on the farm, and you care for them, and they've all come from abuse situations. I think people maybe have a trickier time understanding how you're using new technologies on the farm, how this farm is an example of a systems-wide change, what that could look like, how different components would work together for a better global supply system, food supply system. I think that's what you're trying to do at Sweet Farm. Could you talk to us about the different components and how they work together in a better way than the original version?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things about Sweet Farm is we are in a very unique location. We are located just outside of Silicon Valley, so I don't want to lose sight of that. But we're also in California, big agriculture state, and
Yes.
So the way that we view impact, our impact verticals are three key areas. It's education, inspiration, and innovation, right? So you have to educate around what are the issues and why are they important. You have to inspire action and change. And those two, by the way, that's not just educating kids and parents and other educators. It's educating politicians and CEOs and driving change, across the next generation all the way up through current decision makers and everywhere